My stepmother threw away all photos of my real mom, then told my little sisters she died in a car accident instead of cancer. So I did this on her birthday, and now my dad is filing for divorce, throwaway for obvious reasons. My stepmom occasionally uses Reddit, and I do not want her finding this. This is going to be long. I, female, 24, just found out my stepmom, Barbara, female 42, has been erasing my mom from our family history and lying to my little sisters about how she died, and I'm really angry and don't know what to do. Okay, so background. My mom Ann died 7 years ago from breast cancer after fighting it for like a year and a half. I was 17 when she passed, and my sisters Katie, female, 9, and Heather, female 7, were only 2 and basically a newborn. It was devastating for all of us, especially my dad, male 46. About 2 years after Mom died, Dad met Barbara at some work function, and they got married pretty quickly after that. I was 19 at the time, and I was surprised by how fast it all happened. But whatever, I was heading to college and I figured Dad deserved to be happy again. I'm not usually the type to share personal stuff online, but I honestly don't know who to talk to about this. None of my friends have gone through anything similar, and my boyfriend tries to be supportive, but doesn't really get it. Barbara and I never really clicked from the beginning. She was weird about my mom's stuff. Within months of moving in, she had completely redecorated our entire house, getting rid of furniture my mom had picked out, repainting rooms, the works. She kept talking about how we needed to start fresh as a new family, which bothered me. But my dad seemed happier, so I tried to keep my mouth shut. She didn't leave a single thing untouched. Even the kitchen, which my mom had redesigned right before her diagnosis, was completely redone. I go to college about an hour away from home, and I try to visit once a month to see my sisters. Sometimes less during finals, but I really do try. I'll admit I probably could visit more, but being in that house with Barbara is uncomfortable. This past weekend, I came home for spring break and was helping my little sister Katie with her homework when I overheard her asking Barbara about our real mom. I was in the hallway getting a snack, and they didn't know I was there. I heard Katie ask Barbara if she remembered what my mom was like. Barbara told her she didn't know our mom. Then Katie asked how Mom died because she couldn't remember. This is when I got really upset. Barbara told Katie that Mom died instantly in a car accident and didn't suffer at all. This is a complete lie. My mom battled breast cancer for a year and a half. The last few months were awful. She was in hospice care at the end. I was there. I watched her die. It wasn't instant, and while the hospice people did their best, she definitely suffered. Katie then asked if they could see pictures of Mom sometime, and Barbara told her most of the pictures were lost in our move 3 years ago, before changing the subject to Katie's school project. I couldn't believe what I was hearing. My mom specifically made videos for the girls before she died, explaining her cancer in kid-friendly ways for when they were older. She knew she wasn't going to make it and wanted to leave them something, and there definitely used to be tons of pictures. My mom was really into photography and documented everything. We had so many photo albums and framed pictures everywhere before Barbara moved in. My mom was super organized with family photos. She had labeled albums for each year and special albums for each of our births and major events. She was that mom who always had a camera at every school event. It wasn't just random photos, it was our family history carefully preserved. After the girls went to bed, I confronted Barbara. I was so mad. I asked her why she told Katie that Mom died in a car accident. She seemed startled that I'd overheard, but she composed herself really quick. She told me cancer was too scary for young children to understand, and that a car accident was cleaner and wouldn't make them worry about getting sick themselves. I reminded her that Mom had made videos explaining her illness for when the girls were older, and Barbara dismissed it, saying that was Ann's choice, but she disagreed with it. She has no right to override my actual mother's wishes like that. I was getting really upset, and I asked where all our family photos had gone. We used to have a whole wall of family pictures in the living room that Barbara replaced with generic art pieces years ago. After going back and forth for a while, she finally admitted she had thrown them all out years ago. She said it would be healthier for everyone to move forward without constant reminders of the past. I don't even know how to describe how I felt in that moment. Those pictures were irreplaceable. My mom loved taking photos. She documented everything: birthdays, vacations, random Saturdays, first steps, first days of school, everything, and Barbara just threw them away. I think I started crying, but that part is a blur because I was so upset. I had kept a photo album in my room that disappeared during my freshman year of college. I always wondered what happened to it. And now I know. Barbara probably threw it out when I was away at school. That album had some of my favorite pictures of me and Mom together. And now it's just gone forever. I'm just remembering a specific picture from that album of me and Mom at the beach when I was like 13. It was one of the last vacations we took before her diagnosis, and we both looked so happy. Now my sisters will never even see it. I told my dad about what Barbara admitted, and he seemed really uncomfortable, but said Barbara was just trying to protect the girls, and maybe it's easier for them to think it was quick rather than a long illness. He always takes Barbara's side and avoids conflict with her. He kind of shut down after Mom died, and I think he just can't handle difficult conversations. But these are his daughters and his dead wife we're talking about. I know he still has grief about Mom, but letting Barbara erase her is not the way to deal with it. I feel like I'm the only one protecting my mom's memory because I'm the only one old enough to fully remember her. Katie and Heather deserve to know who their mother was and what actually happened to her. And I'm furious that Barbara has been systematically erasing every trace of my mom from our lives. Barbara's birthday is in 3 weeks, and she's planning this big party with all her friends and family coming to town. My dad is going all out for it. There's a catered dinner and everything. She's even having professional photographers there, which seems so ironic given what she did with our family photos. I'm seriously thinking about what to do. Part of me doesn't want to create a huge family problem that would hurt my sisters. But another part of me wants to stand up for my mom's memory and make sure my sisters know the truth about her. They don't even know what she looked like, and that breaks me. They deserve to know their real mom, not this made-up version Barbara has created, where she basically doesn't exist. I don't want to hurt my family, but sometimes I think about calling Barbara out for what she's done. I think my dad just wants to avoid conflict rather than actually agreeing with Barbara, but his silence feels like betrayal to Mom. Then again, maybe I'm being too hard on him. He did lose his wife, and maybe he's just trying to move forward the only way he knows how. But erasing Mom isn't the answer. Would I be wrong to take a stand at Barbara's upcoming birthday party? I feel like I need to do something, but I'm not sure what the right move is here. Edit. Since so many are asking, yes, I've looked in the attic and basement storage for the photos. I've searched the whole house multiple times over the years. They're definitely gone. Like gone. And yes, I've asked my dad directly where they went before, and he always gave vague answers like, I'm not sure, or we probably packed them away somewhere safe, which now I realize was him covering for Barbara. Edit 2. A few people have asked about digital copies. There might be some on old computers or drives, but most of our family photos were print only. My mom was old school that way and loved physical photo albums. She always said digital wasn't the same as being able to flip through an album together. I'm going to look through some old hard drives though, that's a good suggestion. I might have backed some up before I left for college. We'll update if I find anything. Edit 3. To clarify about my sisters, they don't call Barbara Mom. They call her Barb, or sometimes Barbie, which she seems to prefer. But they definitely see her as their primary maternal figure, since they were so young when our mom died. They barely ask about our real mom, which makes me think Barbara has discouraged those conversations for years. Edit 4. Someone asked if I have any relatives on my mom's side who might have photos. My mom was an only child, and her parents both died before I was born, so unfortunately no. My dad has a sister who lives across the country, but we're not super close. I'm going to reach out to her though and see if she has any pictures. Edit 5. Thanks for all the supportive comments. I honestly didn't expect this to blow up like it did. To those suggesting I'm making this up for karma, I wish that were true. I wish I were creative enough to make up something this painful. For those suggesting I just let it go, would you let it go if someone erased your parent from existence? Now for the first update. So a lot has happened since my last post, you guys. First, I want to thank everyone for all the supportive comments. I honestly wasn't expecting so many people to respond and offer advice. I was overwhelmed, in a good way. Seriously, thank you. A bunch of you suggested I look for digital backups of family photos, and oh my fricking god, that turned out to be really good advice. So basically, I started digging through all my old college stuff that I had in storage at my apartment, and I found an external hard drive. I totally forgot I had backed up a bunch of family photos during high school. My mom was actually the one who taught me to always keep backups after we lost all our vacation photos when I was like 12 because our computer crashed. She would be so proud that I actually listened to her about something technical, for once. When I plugged in that hard drive and saw hundreds of photos of my mom, I literally burst into tears, like ugly crying for hours. It was like finding a piece of her that Barbara couldn't erase. I spent like 3 whole nights just going through all the photos, rediscovering so many memories I had forgotten about. There were photos from our family vacations, holidays, random weekends, and I found these amazing photos of Mom when she was pregnant with Katie and Heather that I completely forgot existed. I think those hit me the hardest, because they show Mom so happy and excited to meet the babies she wouldn't get to raise. Anyway, I started secretly printing some of these photos at the CVS Photo Center near campus. I was planning to make memory books for my sisters so they could finally see what our mom looked like and learn about her. I was going to give them the books next time I visited, but then something happened that changed everything. I was home this past weekend and was looking through Mom's old desk drawers. Barbara had them moved to the basement years ago, obviously, trying to find more stuff from Mom that might have survived Barbara's purge. That's when I found this locked wooden box I hadn't seen before. And guys, I remembered I still had this old key Mom gave me before she died. She told me to keep it safe, but never explained what it was for. I tried it on the box, and it actually opened. What I found inside completely shocked me. The box was filled with sealed envelopes, each with one of our names on it, and a future date. My mom had written letters for all of our future birthdays and life milestones. There were letters labeled Katie's 10th birthday, Heather's 8th birthday, Emily's college graduation, and even ones for first heartbreak, wedding day, and first child. Some of them had small wrapped gifts with them. With shaking hands, I opened the letter meant for my college graduation that had passed a few months ago. I can't even describe what it felt like to read her words. She wrote about how proud she was of me, gave me life advice, told me she was watching over me. I broke down completely. Like I couldn't breathe, I was crying so hard. But then I noticed something weird. There were gaps in the sequence of letters. Like some of Katie's birthday letters were missing, and there were other milestones that should have had letters but didn't. It didn't take me long to realize what had happened. Barbara must have found this box at some point and removed some of the letters. My mom's last messages to us, and Barbara just took them away. I was so angry I couldn't even think straight. I waited until my dad took the girls out for ice cream, and I confronted Barbara. I asked her point blank if she had seen a box of letters from my mom. She immediately got this weird look on her face and said she had no idea what I was talking about. I showed her the box and the remaining letters, and her whole expression changed. She went from denial to this defensive anger really fast. She finally admitted she found the box years ago while she was cleaning, also known as getting rid of Mom's stuff. She said she removed some letters she thought were inappropriate, and when I pushed her on what happened to them, she admitted she threw them away. She kept saying the letters mentioned Mom's cancer, and she was protecting the girls from unnecessary pain. When I asked if my dad knew about any of this, she admitted he had no idea about the letters or that she'd gotten rid of some of them. I was furious. These weren't her letters to read or decide about. They were private messages from our mom to US. Barbara had no right to intercept them or decide which ones we could have. I mean, who does that? Who reads someone's private letters to their children and then throws them away? Barbara's birthday party is tomorrow night. It's this big event she's been planning for months. She's invited all her real estate colleagues, her family, who have always been cold to me, by the way, and friends who never even knew my mom existed. She's made this whole thing about donating to a children's literacy charity instead of gifts, which is so ironic considering she literally destroyed letters meant for children to read. I was originally just planning to make those memory books for my sisters, but after finding out about the letters, I've decided I need to do more. I've created a digital presentation with photos of Mom throughout her life and with each of us girls. I debated whether to include photos from when she was sick and decided to include a few that showed how strong she was during treatment rather than focusing on the suffering. I've also organized copies of all the remaining letters chronologically. I'm going to show everyone exactly what Barbara has been trying to erase for years. I'm honestly terrified about how this is going to go down. I'm worried about how my dad will react and what this will do to my sisters. But I also feel like preserving Mom's memory and the truth is more important than keeping the peace with Barbara. I don't want to hurt Barbara. Okay, maybe I do a little, but this isn't about revenge. It's about making sure my sisters know who their mother was and that her memory isn't erased. They deserve to know the truth. And yes, I know causing a scene at her birthday party is kind of a big deal, but honestly, what else can I do at this point? Katie and Heather have been asking more questions about Mom lately. Just little things like, did Mom like pizza? Or what color was Mom's hair? I used to think they were just normal kid questions, but now I realize they're trying to connect with the mother they never got to know. And Barbara has been actively preventing that connection. The party is tomorrow evening at this fancy restaurant Barbara loves. I'm both terrified and determined to follow through with my plan. I've never done anything like this before, but I feel like if I don't stand up for my mom now, her memory really will be erased forever. And yes, I know some people will say I should talk to my dad first. I probably should, but I'm afraid he'll just shut down like he always does whenever anything uncomfortable comes up. He's never been good with confrontation, especially since Mom died. And anyway, Barbara already admitted Dad has no idea about the letters she threw away, so he's been kept in the dark too. Edit. Some people are saying I should just have a quiet conversation with my sisters instead of making a scene. I get where you're coming from, but Barbara has been systematically lying to them for years. A quiet conversation won't undo all that damage, and honestly, she deserves to be called out publicly for what she's done. Edit 2. To those asking if I'm sure Barbara threw the letters away, yes, she admitted it to my face. I wish I had recorded the conversation, but I wasn't thinking clearly at the time. She literally said those letters would have just upset everyone, like she had the right to decide that for us. Edit 3. Several people have mentioned legal issues with me showing these private letters and photos. I'm not planning to read the letters out loud or anything. Just show that they exist and that Barbara threw some away. And the photos are of my family. She can't stop me from showing pictures of my own mother. Edit 4. A lot of you are concerned about my sisters being traumatized by learning about Mom's cancer. I'm being careful about that. I'm not going to go into graphic details about her suffering, but they deserve to know she fought hard to stay with us and didn't just die instantly in some made-up car accident. Also, I'm showing them the videos Mom made explaining her illness in kid-friendly terms, which Barbara has been hiding from them. Now for the second update. So, I did it. I actually went through with it. I exposed Barbara at her birthday party, and now everything has exploded and I'm still processing all of it. I know a lot of you wanted an update, so here it is. Sorry for any formatting issues. I'm typing this from my old bedroom at my dad's house where I've been staying to help with my sisters. So after finding those letters in that wooden box I told you guys about in my last post, I spent like 3 whole days putting together this presentation of all the photos I found on that external hard drive. I was so nervous the night before the party, I barely slept. I kept second-guessing myself like, am I doing the right thing? But then I'd think about Barbara throwing away my mom's letters and I'd get angry all over again. For the party, I decided to wear this blue dress my mom had bought me for my high school graduation. Barbara has tried to get me to donate it like 1,000,000 times during her closet cleanouts, which were basically just excuses to get rid of more of Mom's influence, but I always refused. It was one of the last gifts my mom ever gave me before she got too sick to shop. It's a little tight on me now, but whatever. It was important. We all drove to the party together, me, Dad, and my sisters. Barbara went early to make sure everything was perfect. She's super controlling about stuff like that. When we got to the restaurant, it was this fancy place with a private room in the back. Barbara's face when she saw me walk in with my laptop bag was interesting. She looked nervous for like half a second before going back to her perfect hostess persona. There were maybe 40 people there, all Barbara's real estate colleagues, her family, who have never been particularly warm to me, her friends, and a few of my dad's work friends. I noticed right away that the centerpieces were these elaborate flower arrangements with white lilies, the exact same flowers that were at my mom's funeral. I don't think Barbara even realized it, which somehow made it worse. During dinner, I barely ate anything. Barbara kept shooting these little glances at me, like she was trying to figure out what I was up to. After the main course, my dad stood up to give this toast about how Barbara was the perfect mother figure and how she brought light back into our lives after a dark time. The way he said it, like my mom was just this dark time we all needed to get past. That was when I knew for sure I was doing the right thing. After Dad's toast, I asked the event coordinator if I could use the projector for a special birthday presentation I'd prepared. Barbara actually looked relieved, like she thought I was extending an olive branch or something. So I connected my laptop to the projector and started with some recent family photos. Just normal stuff from the last couple years with Barbara in them. I could see her visibly relax, probably thinking, oh, thank God, Emily's not going to cause a scene. And then I switched to the older photos. The first one was this beautiful picture of my mom holding baby Katie in the hospital, with me, like 17 at the time, sitting next to her on the bed. The room got really quiet really fast, like you could literally hear people stop chewing. I just calmly said, for those who don't know, this is our mother, Anne. She died of breast cancer 7 years ago after fighting for a year and a half. Barbara's face just froze. Like her smile was still there, but her eyes were panicking. I continued showing photos of Mom with all of us. Mom teaching me to ride a bike, Mom pregnant with Heather, Mom holding baby Heather in the hospital, Christmas mornings, beach vacations. All these moments that Barbara had tried to erase. I explained to everyone that these were the only photos we had left of our mother because Barbara had thrown away all the physical ones years ago. I said it really calmly, which I think made it hit harder. Barbara tried to interrupt me, but my dad actually motioned for her to let me finish. I've never seen him stand up to her like that before. Then I explained that Mom didn't die instantly in a car accident like Barbara had told my sisters. She died of cancer, and she was sick for a long time, but she was incredibly brave through all of it. That's when I played a short clip from one of the videos my mom had recorded. Just a minute where she explained to the girls in simple terms that she was very sick, but that she loved them very much and would always be watching over them. Katie and Heather were just staring at the screen. I don't think they'd ever seen a video of Mom before, at least not that they remember. They were so little when she died. Heather was literally climbing into Dad's lap to get a better view of the screen. She kept saying, "That's Mommy, that's really Mommy," and Katie was just silent with these huge eyes. After the video, I showed everyone the box of letters and explained how Mom had prepared these for all our future milestones. Birthdays, graduations, weddings, and then I told them how Barbara had intercepted them and thrown many of them away. Barbara stood up at that point and shouted that I was just trying to ruin her birthday out of spite. That's when my dad asked her really quietly, "Is what Emily's saying true? Did you throw away Anne's letters to our children?" And Barbara just broke. She started crying and admitted she had gotten rid of the photos but kept insisting she did it for the emotional health of the family. She said, "We couldn't move forward while living in the past." I've never seen my dad look so cold. Like, he's always been this conflict-avoiding pushover with Barbara, but in that moment something changed in his face. He just stared at her like he was seeing her for the first time. I handed Katie and Heather each an envelope with a letter from Mom that was meant for their current ages. Barbara stormed out crying, followed by her sister. The party basically fell apart after that. People were awkwardly making excuses to leave. Barbara's mom actually came up to me and yelled at me for embarrassing her daughter. Dad's coworker Steve, who knew my mom, came up and hugged me and said, "Anne would be proud of you." The car ride home was really uncomfortable. Dad didn't say a word. Katie and Heather were in the back seat just clutching their letters, not opening them yet. I think they were in shock. When we got home, Dad asked to see everything I had found. I showed him the external hard drive with all the photos, the box with the remaining letters, and even the text from Barbara where she admitted throwing away the photos. Barbara came home a couple hours later and they had this explosive fight. I took the girls upstairs, but we could still hear everything. Dad was yelling about her destroying family memories without talking to him. Barbara was screaming back that she couldn't live with my mom's memory in the house. Dad told her those weren't her memories to erase, and Barbara said she deserved to be the only mother the girls needed. Dad told her to leave for the night. She packed a bag while crying and saying I had manipulated everyone against her. That was 2 weeks ago. Barbara's been staying with her sister since then. Dad met with a divorce attorney last week. He apologized to me for not protecting our family memories and for letting Barbara control everything about Mom. We've had some family therapy sessions with Katie and Heather to help them understand everything in an age-appropriate way. They've had a lot of questions about Mom. Sometimes it's heartbreaking, simple stuff like, did Mommy like ice cream? Or what was Mommy's favorite color? Things they should have known their whole lives. I made memory books for both of them with photos of Mom, and we've been watching more of her videos together. Dad found some old home movies too that Barbara somehow missed in her purge. Watching those together has been really emotional, but also healing, I think. Dad filed for divorce last week, citing irreconcilable differences, But he told me privately it's because he can never trust Barbara again after learning how far her lying went. He said he might have forgiven her for the photos eventually, but the letters were unforgivable. Those were Mom's last words to us, and Barbara just threw them away. I honestly never wanted to break up their marriage. Okay, that's not entirely true. Maybe a part of me did want Barbara gone, but mostly I just wanted my sisters to know the truth about our mom. I wanted Mom's memory preserved, not erased. I'm kind of worried about my sisters though. Sometimes Katie gets really quiet after we talk about Mom, and I can't tell if she's processing or if she's upset with me for disrupting everything. Heather seems to be taking it better. She carries around this photo of Mom holding her as a baby everywhere now. She sleeps with it under her pillow. We've created a new family photo wall in the living room with pictures of Mom alongside current family photos. I think that's the thing I'm most proud of. Mom is visibly part of our family again. She's not being erased anymore. Edit. So many people are asking if I regret doing it so publicly. Honestly, I have mixed feelings. On one hand, it was probably traumatic for my sisters to learn everything that way. On the other hand, if I had tried to do it privately, Barbara would have found a way to spin it or minimize it. She's really good at manipulating my dad. Seeing her admit everything in front of witnesses made it impossible for her to deny it later. Edit 2. To those asking about my sisters' reactions to their letters, they haven't shared the contents with me, which is totally fine. Those letters are private between them and Mom, but Katie sleeps with hers under her pillow now too, so I think they mean a lot to her, even if she's still processing everything. Edit 3. Someone asked what Barbara's family is saying now. Her sister has been posting passive-aggressive stuff on Facebook about ungrateful stepdaughters without naming names. Most of Barbara's friends have unfriended me, which is fine since I barely knew them anyway. But a few of them have actually reached out to say they understand why I did what I did, which surprised me. Edit 4. A lot of people are asking if I'm worried about custody issues. Dad has assured me that won't be a problem. Barbara never legally adopted Katie and Heather, and their birth certificates list my mom as their mother. And anyway, they're my dad's biological kids, so there's no question of who they'd stay with.